Australian students live and learn in many different parts of the country, and they come from many different backgrounds. Communities, schools and classrooms throughout Australia reflect this diversity. The term student diversity encompasses the range of abilities, interests, needs and experiences that may influence a student's ability to learn and achieve success at school. The Australian curriculum sets the expectations of learning for all young Australians, regardless of their background, skills or capabilities. The three-dimensional structure of the Australian curriculum, cross-curriculum priorities, learning areas and general capabilities support an integrated approach to teaching and learning. Using the three dimensions, teachers can work with students whose first language is not English, students with disability and students who are assessed as gifted and talented. Here is an example integrating all three dimensions. A Year 10 class may study a unit of work about the experiences of Australians during World War II that includes a visit to a local war memorial. The starting point for the unit is age-appropriate content from the history learning area. This could then be viewed through the lens of the priority, Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia, combined with a focus on the general capabilities of literacy and intercultural understanding. This approach provides opportunities for differentiation of learning. Students in this class are required to use primary and secondary sources to complete tasks that demonstrate comprehension and interpretation of information. The EALD students in this class might complete comprehensions from sources relating to Australians' experiences as soldiers or prisoners of war in the Asian region, and write a reflection on the visit to the war memorial. Activities for EALD students may focus on skills that emphasise the use of complex sentences and making connections between ideas, events, and perspectives from the literacy general capability continuum. In the same class, a gifted and talented student with a vision impairment may listen to oral histories from World War II. This student could then report on the legacy of war and how Australians remember their past. As well as the priority of Australia and Australia's engagement with Asia, this task supports the development of intercultural understanding. Teachers can find advice about using the curriculum to personalise learning for students with disability. There is also advice to assist teachers in meeting their obligations under the Disability Standards for Education legislation. By integrating learning areas, general capabilities, and cross-curriculum priorities in creative ways, teachers can address the needs and interests of all students. These may be cognitive, affective, physical, social, or aesthetic. There are also resources for teachers of gifted and talented students with planning advice. Intellectual giftedness can also be supported with tasks that bring together all three dimensions of the Australian curriculum. EALD students, those for whom English is an additional language or dialect, include students from a range of linguistic and cultural backgrounds. They may have recently arrived in Australia with prior learning in another language or speak a language other than English at home. Illustrations of professional practice are also available on these web pages. These illustrations of practice are set in primary and secondary schools, specialist and mainstream schools, and in regional and metropolitan locations. At ACARA, as is true for schools and teachers across Australia, there is a strong focus on the diversity of students and the ways in which the Australian curriculum can be used to personalise learning.